Special invitation.
Do what now?
A special invitation.
From who and to what?
I don't know yet. Houston, Texas. Probably a bunch of bull crap. Don't know. $20 million. That's right. No, a dish advertisement.
Didn't you say back years ago, May, whenever y'all used to live over here, that Ridgeway was always a bully?
No, he wasn't. His daddy was.
Daddy was.
His daddy was. You talking about Monroe?
Yeah. The old man that owned that place over there.
Monroe.
Why was he so ornery?
I don't know. I just told him one day what I thought, and I stopped out in my driveway somewhere.
What'd you tell him?
I stopped my driveway. Over that fence up there. Between our
I ain't
fence.
got none of this crap.
I done to have it surveyed and put a wire fence up. I told him, well, when we did, it'd be half on him.
And what did he say about that?
He never did say no more. I think afterwards he sold it to Jason.
So in other words, I guess what you're trying to say is Donald Ridgeway got it honest.
Yeah.
When was it that they all packed up and moved up to Chicago? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't.
Probably in the 40s, right after World War II?
They were up there when we come back from first time.
Which should have been when?
We moved in 63, and come back in 63.
You moved in 63 and they was already gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to leave out in the 50s. You had 13 living children, didn't you, May?
Yeah.
And how many of them have you already outlived? Outlived 5?
Five gone.
And you was born right down here on Beach Ridge, wasn't you?
Yeah.
Have you hit 93 yet?
Yep. She is 93.
You are 93 now?
Yeah.
And how old are you, Jimmy?
64.
64. So there's 29 years difference between you and her?
Something like that. Yeah. I'm not very good at math anymore. I came to Tennessee. When did I come to Tennessee?
I think you come in Tennessee.
89? Was it 89?
Yeah.
89.
And you're originally from
Odessa, Texas.
Odessa. You still got people that live out in Odessa. A son?
My sister. My sister still lives there.
Didn't you say you had a son that was a doctor?
Yeah, he's in Dallas.
He's in Dallas.
Yeah.
Has he ever come down here and see you?
He ain't been here yet. They say he's gonna come one day. What are you gonna do? That fire getting to you?
That smoke's blowing up her in her face.
That looks like it. Can they move you? I got it.
Jimmy takes good care of Miss May. I've got a lot of fond memories of the Sweat family, as well as the Norton family. They was always
Now watch it blow that way now.
decent to us.
Father's you.
There was a couple times she,
Smoke father's you. You know that.
It's going that way.
couple
now.
times she
Father's gonna go
got a little ill with my father. But there's been times that I guess she's gotten ill with just about everybody around here at one time or another, because they tried to run her over and tried to bully her. And she's not one to be bullied.
Got that right.
She's never been one to be bullied.
No.
I told
You're going to have to get her on the other side or back over here where you're at, Jimmy. Because that,
Are they going back over there now?
well, the heat is. You done got the fire stirred up too big, Jimmy. Too big of a fire.
Over here where my chair is.
Put her in your chair and then move her chair somewhere else and then you sit in her chair. But that wind is blowing in that direction and I'm sure she's feeling the heat off of it. You do? Well, you still getting around, ain't you, May?
pretty good.
You still got a nurse come up here and see you from time to time?
I think they quit.
They quit.
Well, they've made 8 visits. There you want.
Well, how you doing, Jimmy, since your operation?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Real good.
Are you?
Yeah.
When are we going to get together and play a little music?
Oh, I play every week.
Do you?
Well, you know I do.
Did you know that they was asking for donations, Miss May, out here at the cemetery for mowing?
No, I ain't heard nothing about it. You know what he said?
Yeah. I don't see why everybody got bought the graves. They're supposed to go on the
They said it costs $200 every time a mower mows it. And I think they've got it figured out to about 18 mowings. Well, 10 mowings at $200 a mowing, that's $2,000. So they spend right at $4,000 just for mowing. I went ahead and made a contribution with them out there for one mowing, and I kind of feel guilty that I didn't have more money to give more. But, you know, kind of like the little woman that peed in the ocean, every little bit helps. I figured my $200 would pay for at least one mowing.
You give him $200?
Yeah, I gave him $200.
David Jacobs, David Nelson mows it.
No, they've got it subbed out.
When do you?
No, I'm sure he does. I'm sure David don't do it anymore.
No, they've got all that stuff subbed out now. I don't know who it is that goes in there and flies in there and does that. But they not only mow it, but they also put poison around the headstones and weed eat and poison it. And I mean, they maintenance it. They make it look neat and nice during the summer. If not, it'd grow up like this one over here.
I'll tell you, I mowed a graveyard at Cowboy Church one time. I don't want to mow it no more.
They're tough. They're tough to mow.
They are. Go around them tombstones.
Yes, sir. And if you hit one of them tombstones with your daggum mower, it's almost like running into a wall because that tombstone ain't going to budge.
Some of them will. I got some back there back in the 18.
What I'm saying is you'll tear up a mower.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You'll tear up a mower on you run over a big piece of rock and you'll tear a mower completely up on the bottom deck.
Rick King taught me into doing that one time.
Really?
I went out there and mowed it.
I think it would be cheaper to do a cemetery and put all artificial turf down. It costs you a lot of money to do it on the front end, but eventually it'd pay for itself because you wouldn't have to worry about that maintenance fee year after year after year after year. If you put plastic and artificial turf down, that would control the grass and the weeds.
Yep,
Wouldn't it?
like a golf course.
Yeah.
Like a mini.
Right, like a golf course or a
Well, they got a mini golf course.
right. I mean, there would be a little bit of maintenance. You'd probably have to get out there in the fall and blow the leaves and stuff off of it. You know, halfway keep it clean with a blower and stuff. But it wouldn't be near the maintenance, I don't think, towards being going out here mowing. You know, a lot of these churches are barely surviving in today's society. And just to keep the lights on and pay for the insurance on the building is a challenge for them. Much less in the summertime having to be out a big mowing bill.
Heck yeah. I'm going to be on Facebook. I know you're holding that camera up there in front of me.
Well, we're all just sitting out here talking.
My hair's all messed up.
Jimmy, it ain't about what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside.
I know that. My parents.
How many times have
I like to look good if I'm gonna be on.
how many times have you let me photograph you and put you on some of my stuff?
I lost count. I've lost count.
But anyways, getting back to Ridgeway, you're saying that his father, Monroe, was a bully.
He tried to be.
He what?
He tried
Tried
to
to
be.
be.
Tried to be. So Donald got it honest then, didn't he?
Yeah.
And you figure they probably moved up there in the 50s sometimes?
I imagine.
Right.
50s.
And Donald went up there and got the taste of the big city life. And now he's going to come down here and be like his father. He's going to bully everybody around and tell them how to live their lives down here. And it don't work that way, does it, Miss May?
No, sure don't. It wouldn't with me.
Well, he sure tried to make my life miserable. And as far as I'm concerned, he put David in an early grave. You don't think that man's going to pay for this one day?
Oh, yeah. You pay for what you will.
What?
Because the Bible says that what a man soweth, that shall a man also weepeth. If you go around tormenting people's lives and doing people wrong in your worth ethics, don't you think all that stuff's going to haunt you one day whenever you do pass on?
Well, yeah.
You weep what you sow is what the Bible says.
What it says.
If you sow discord, that's what you'll get is discord. If you sow love and grace, goodness, forgiveness. But you know, some people some people won't let you be a neighbor to them. Some people won't let you be a Christian
I know.
neighbor to them.
I know.
They're so full of spite and so full of meanness.
You start talking about Jesus and they want to leave.
Oh yeah, you start talking about the Lord and they'll leave.
Some of them will. Not all. Everybody.
A whole lot of them will. Because they're under conviction anyways. You know what I'm saying? They're already under guilt. Because they know they ain't living like they ought to be living in the eyes of God.
Nobody's perfect.
No, nobody's perfect. But there's a difference in somebody that just claims that they've got a relationship with God and somebody that actually does.
Oh, yeah. Correct.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of fakers. And who was it that said that there's three types of people in the world? There's the believers, and then there's the non-believers, and then there's the make-believers.
Yeah.
You got more make-believers in the world than you do believers or non-believers. They're phony. They're fake. They're actors. You agree with that, May?
More than likely.
Did you ever figure out what kind of Indian that you had in you?
Mean Indian.
What kind of Indian she got in her?
Mean.
Cherokee? Chickasaw?
I don't know. I just say mean Indian.
Isn't it supposed to warm up, Jimmy?
Well, they were supposed to get up like 65 today, but I think that done changed.
You been keeping up with the news?
Yeah.
Did you see where that one boy, the city of Chicago, let that guy loose?
No, I guess I saw that one.
The guy that faked his own attack?
Oh, yeah.
He was a hate crime? Or everybody thought it was.
He wanted to have more publicity on that TV show.
Well, they're saying now that he actually got attacked. Why would the county of Cook County in Chicago, Illinois, dropped all the charges for?
He didn't get attacked. He put that on.
Something's going on with our judicial system, Jimmy, that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? How many kids did Monroe have, anyways, Miss May?
I don't know.
Wasn't there about 4 or 5 of them?
Only one I ever know was here.
Huh? Denny?
Well, this about got a bunch of sticks burn up.
What's old Ricky Simmons over there been doing?
He into himself.
You know, they won't even let me drive down that road. Did you know it?
What road?
That road, Dawson Road right over there.
Well, ain't no need to. I don't drive down it.
Well, I ain't never heard of a state or a county that wouldn't allow for their citizens to drive down any road that I wanted to drive down.
If I want to go down there and see him, I'd drive down there.
Well, what if I just wanted to drive down there just to look at the terrain?
I don't see why you couldn't.
The cop told me in Union City. He said if I drive down there one more time, that's going to be looked upon
That's stalking.
as stalking.
I think I was there when he told you that.
Do you agree with that?
Well, you got to go with what the law says, I guess, Juby. I don't know.
Really?
I guess.
Tyranny.
You're a lawyer.
Tyranny. In other words, we're under kingmanship. We're under some sort of tyranny. See, the way I understand driving is a privilege.
Well, there's some people may say they're not allowed in this driveway. That's different than the highway, I guess.
Sure it is. Your driveway and your highway is 2 different things. But it's a privilege to have driver's license, and your driving privileges can be taken from you. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, here I have tried to make good score on my driving, of having an excellent record of no tickets, no this, no that. And I'm not saying that I won't get a ticket today, because I may very well get one. Accidentally, it won't be intentionally.
All right.
But the whole primary purpose for having that privilege is so that you can drive up and down the American roads, because these are the taxes that you contributed towards being able to do that. It's public domain.
Well,
And unless there's some sort of
somebody's got to complain about doing it. I just say, well, okay, don't worry about me. I'm not coming down there no more.
but does that not speak volumes of the type of people that live down that road?
Well, that's their opinion. Everybody's got one.
And they was shooting at me. They was shooting at me, Jimmy. You know they was. Or shooting, trying to bring inferior or intimidation into my life. They may not have been actually shooting at me. According to Ricky Simmons, if he's going to shoot at me, he's going to hit me. That was his words.
Yeah,
Ricky said, if I shoot at you, I'm going to hit you.
I ain't gonna waste a bullet.
I ain't going to waste a bullet.
That sounds like Ricky.
But them people got some serious problems down that road if they won't allow for somebody to drive down there.
Well, if you just stay away from it, then you ain't got no problem. If you just wanna.
But once more, does that not violate my driving privileges?
That's up to you. I mean, like I said, if that's what you want to do, I guess you're free to do it.
You know, whenever I was just a kid, about probably, I don't know, I may have been 8, 9, maybe 10 years old. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Dan Simmons live in that house right over there, Miss May?
Dan and Sue lived there.
Yeah, Dan and Sue lived there. We was hauling hay one summer, and they throwed off a big bale of hay.
Malcolm Lester lived right here.
Here?
Right here.
They throwed off a big bale of hay,
Not when I was here, he wasn't living here.
and I seen it coming, and if I didn't throw up my hands, it'd probably broke my neck, but I throwed up my arm, and it hit my arm so hard that it broke my arm. And my brother Danny had to carry me to Union City to get my arm reset. So what I'm trying to say is,
When we moved here,
It
Malcolm,
was a two-story house, you said.
yeah, Malcolm moved out and we moved in. He had old,
Two-story house here.
yeah, it was.
he had old cubs and possums and everything else. Bottoms out there,
Well, that was Malcolm Lester's nickname, was Possum.
cause he'd stretch your hide and sell them.
Right. That's how he made money. A lot of them made money around here by fishing or hunting or making moonshine or making homemade wine. Homer Thompson made homemade wine. You remember Homer Thompson?
No, I don't think I do.
You don't remember Sonny? Sonny and B?
Sonny Davis?
No.
That's the only Sonny I ever knew.
No. Thompson. Sonny Thompson.
No, I don't know anybody.
B. Thompson. Lived right down there the road where I'm at.
No, I don't know.
You don't remember them, May?
No, I don't guess I do. J.M. Willis and your daddy's the only one I know lived down that way. So J.M.'s wife went to work for me. I picked her up and picked
Lenore. Where was y'all working at? Greenfield or Rutherford?
Greenfield.
Greenfield. Did you ever pick my mother up and take her for a ride?
That's Shane Jordan's aunt.
She rode with me.
Yeah.
Shane Jordan's aunt.
That's my mother. Betty.
Yeah.
Betty Joyce Jackson. But now Lenore Willis is somebody else. That Lenore Willis lives down there now. She's still living. I guess Lenore's almost as old as you is.
And she's getting on up there.
Uh-huh.
She's getting on up there.
Did you ever know Hayes's? Frank Hayes? And Virginia Hayes?
No, I didn't do much running around. All I done was work.
You worked at Goodyear for how many years?
17.
17. You worked at Kelwood for how many years?
Talking about she worked in the field, raising kids.
Yeah, she worked in the field raising kids for years and years, too.
I think that's what she was.
But you worked at Kelwood for 4 or 5 years, didn't you?
Yeah.
And did you work at the box factory, too, or something?
No, I didn't work.
Or was that Jimmy that worked there? Did you work at the box factory?
Yeah. In Rutherford.
Where else did you work
I
at?
worked in the box factory in Milan, too.
You did?
Yep. And I worked at Sharon Manufacturing for 8 years. Starting out at $3.75 an hour. And I got up to about almost 8. The factory shut down.
What year was that?
I don't even remember, Judy. Then I went to work for Worcester and Clark in Union City. I worked there about 6 years, and that factory went down. And then what did I do? I don't remember too much.
Off and on for MTD.
MTD for 12 years,
You worked for MTD for 12 years?
off and on.
Huh.
I made the foreman of the month one time.
You did?
Got an extra $100.
Good for you.
Yep. For Hammond Racker.
All our jobs went overseas, hadn't they?
Yeah.
Or died out or
Well, that
something.
Sharon, that place there, they told us it would be there when our grandkids grow up. They'd be working there, and they lied. They sent it off to Dominican.
Greenfield factory sold too. Carrington sold.
You never did work in Kenton?
No.
Who?
You.
No. No, I didn't work there.
I worked at Carrington going out in Greenfield. And that epoxy place. And I come back.
I worked in the oil field. came to Tennessee.
Did you?
Worked right there across the street.
Yeah, nowadays, what I'm doing, back then when I was 17 years old, you gotta have college education now. Just about. That was work then.
Right.
Now they got these things they just put on there and mash buttons. I worked there, you had to throw your back in.
Did you go out in the Gulf and work, Jimmy?
No. No, my stepdaddy did. He was a mechanic on drilling rigs.
Some of them people that work out there in the Gulf, they make good money, don't they?
Oh, yeah. I even went shrimping one time.
You did? I bet that was fun, huh?
Stayed out there 2 weeks and got sick the whole 2 weeks.
Motion sickness.
Yeah.
Really?
Even driving the boat. Smoking a big old hooter. We had a pound of pot. All the food you want. As soon as we got out there, I'm smoking a joint and driving the boat out to the jetties. And it goes up and splash. And this way. Oh, no.
And the whole time you was sick.
Just about. And there was no bathroom. There was no bathroom on that shrimp boat. You're hanging over the side. You had the crap. You just sat back on the side.
That's indecent.
That's what you did. There was no toilet on the shrimp boat.
Mm.
And then they'd dump these big nets. And there'd be every kind of fish you could think of.
Really?
Yeah, and shark looking teeth and skinny bodies.
Uh-huh.
And all you wanted was the shrimp. And you have thousands of crabs get all over the ship. And you have to get them out.
Right.
And then you sweep all this trash out in a little hole about like that. You're sitting on a Coke box.
Right.
And you're raking this big pile of fish and shrimp. And you're raking it and getting shrimp. And what you don't use, you scrape it out the side of it. And then you got the sharks over eating it.
Really?
So you didn't want to fall off the boat. They might eat you, I don't know.
I would say you had a chance of it anyway.
After you're eating everything else.
How close is Odessa? Odessa, is that how you pronounce it?
Odessa, Texas.
Odessa?
Odessa.
How close is that to Houston?
Oh, good grief, Judy. Probably about 600 miles.
How close is it to Dallas?
About 4.5.
Four.
4.5.
4.5 hour drive?
Yep.
So that means it's less than 200 miles then.
No, it's about 400 miles. You got to drive about 89 miles an hour.
So Odessa is like on the west side of Texas?
No.
It's still on the east side?
Well, you got the Panhandle. You go straight up. You go 90 miles this way. You'll be in New Mexico. That way. If you go straight across about 360 miles or 80, you'll be in El Paso. You go 400 something this way, you'll be in Dallas.
So you was on the northern end of Dallas? I mean the northern end of Texas?
You'll be down in Houston, about 600 miles.
You was in the northern end of Texas?
It's called West Texas. West Texas.
Ain't there another big city over next to you somewhere?
Odessa and Midland. Midland's where George Bush was born at.
George Bush Sr.?
Yeah,
The old man?
yeah.
Really?
That's where he went to school, Midland, Texas.
He did?
Yeah, it's 20 miles from Odessa.
Really?
Now it's like, right now, last time I went, Odessa and Midland, they're just about connected, called Modesto.
They probably already are connected now.
Oh, yeah.
That ain't pretty close to Amarillo?
No. Amarillo. That's That's where we lost the cat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We lost our cat in Amarillo.
How close is all that to Amarillo?
What? Odessa?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. If you had to get you a Texas map and video it, you can see it.
You was down there in long steer country, wasn't you?
Yeah.
Where you see ranches for miles and miles and miles.
You didn't see nothing.
See nothing but cows.
See this yard?
Yeah.
That's what you seen.
It was desert.
Pretty much. Tumbleweeds. Tumbleweeds and a few
See, I didn't know where he come from.
mesquite bushes.
I mean, I knew he come from Texas, but I didn't know what part of Texas.
They told me to till the garden when I first got here. I asked her, what's a tiller?
You didn't know what a tiller was?
Eating a lot of strawberries.
No. I lived in the city.
He was a lot of trouble when he first come down here, wasn't he, May?
Mowed my strawberries down.
Mowed the strawberries down, yep.
What'd you do that for, Jimmy?
How's they
I
blooming?
thought they were blooming weeds. You know, those white flowers, like weeds.
Yeah.
I had strawberries.
Well, I went over them 3 times with that mower. Every time I let the deck down. And I had dirt all over my eyes and everything. I walked in the house.
I bet May had a fit.
And I said, well, you ain't got to worry about them blooming weeds no more.
And she went out there and got to looking, and you done cut down all her strawberries.
She said, what blooming weeds? And I said, the ones behind the big shed. Those are my strawberries. I said, ain't nothing there but dust. I went over about 3 times. That was nothing there. Dirt. And then I did it real good one time. I went to Texas and I come back. I've been on a bus for 22 hours. And in the back, well, right out here. I just got off the bus for 22 hours and I thought I'd get out here and start me a little fire, a little breeze, you know. The
Beans
leaves.
are just dying.
And yeah,
Soybeans are just
soybeans were all over this field last year. I didn't know no better. My theory was I could start me a little fire, let it burn, a little circle, and I'll put it out. I'll put it out, and I'll go over here and start me another little fire.
Make a breaker fire.
Well, I thought that it would burn this up, they won't catch back. Well,
Right.
That was wrong.
Right.
Well, I'm trying to put this one out. This one done caught it back up again.
Right.
Now I've got 2 fires
Right.
trying to put out
Right.
with my brand new tennis shoes.
Right.
That's all I got. And leaves, I rake the leaves all up in a little pile, you know, so I could burn them. My theory was I'd burn it and I'd put it out. Well, and the wind got a little bit breezy. Well, now I've got a fire going. I'm freaking out. May's hollering at me on the porch.
Fire,
I'm
fire.
gonna put you under the jail. David Jacobs is gonna put you under the jail. I've done put up the water holes and everything else for the winter. I'm out there. I'm out there by the pond. I got my fire going. And it's starting to go toward them beans. And I'm standing out there with my new tennis shoes, putting it out. And I found me no trash can lid. That was wrong. I went. When I did it, went. Made it even worse. Now I've got a real mess. I've got cars parking over here. Just parking over there watching me.
Ah, you done had rubberneckers.
They just sit there and watch me.
Right.
Just sit there and pulled over about 4 or 5 pickups. Just sit
Right.
there and watch me.
You had rubberneckers.
And then here I am, I found me a bucket, 2 buckets. So I
See, that's the society that we live in today. Jerry, we live in a Jerry Springer society to where people actually roots on trouble. They root on ill will. They root on people being in trouble. They root on murders. They root on... We live in an evil
Anyway, let me tell my
Jerry
story.
Springer society.
I guess. And I got 2 buckets of water out of the pond, and I kept splashing on them. I run back and get another 2 buckets, and I splash it, and the fire's still going toward them beans. And if it ever got across that little ditch, the gully,
Mm-hmm.
if it ever got across there, I was done for. I had that last bucket of water, and I went splash. I put it out. If it ever got across that little ditch, it would have been all she wrote. The beans would have went. I mean, from here to that White House, back that side, all back here behind us,
So how was your shoes?
burnt up.
Burnt plumb off your feet?
Yeah, my feet was hot.
Really?
Yeah, them tennis shoes.
Right?
I didn't know they could catch fire too.
So you had an audience out here, people
Oh yeah.
having fun with it.
And May hollering on the back porch.
See, that's what I'm running into with Donald Ridgway. Once more, we live in a Jerry Springer society, and as far as I'm concerned, people like Jerry Springer should be put in jail. But
Then I got some.
we live in an evil, demonic society to where whenever people see people down and out
That needed help.
that needed help, they actually root it on.
Got out and helped me put that fire out, but they didn't. They just parked their car over the truck and sat there and watched me.
I'm surprised they didn't start selling popcorns and popcorn and Coca-Colas and just turn it into a regular event.
I don't know who they were.
Bunch of sickos.
Just sat there and parked and watched.
That's
They was waiting for that fire to catch them beans.
Sure.
That's what they was doing.
Sure, they was probably rooting on. They claim that a certain percentage of the people that go to NASCAR races, they don't go there to watch the race. They're going there anticipating on somebody having a bad accident and somebody getting killed.
Or flipping, turning a vehicle up. Wouldn't doubt it.
Yes. A certain percentage of the people that go to NASCAR races go there to watch somebody get brutally injured or killed. That is the type of society that we live in. It's sick. All right, I got to go.
All right. You behave yourself.
I'll do it.